Valley View Development Corporation, and with reservation of rights to the county to continue to operate as a tenant of the facility.
Discussion. Legislator Anagnostakis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, citizens, for coming out today. And thank you, fellow legislators, during this very important vote that we're going to take. I want to just relive an incident that occurred about a week ago, where I was in a parking lot area with a fellow colleague. And he asked me, why don't you just go ahead and vote with us and just let's get this over with. And I started to explain, as I usually do, all the reasons that I have for my position. And it was very quickly evident that we didn't have time to talk at that point. There was other business that was more pressing. But I thought about it and I said to myself, well, at least my colleague will be here today and hear all my reasoning. And I thought to myself, why would I want to sell Valley View when I know everything that I know about Valley View? We started 3.5 years ago. I knew nothing about nursing homes. 3.5 years later, I know too much about nursing homes. Why would I want to sell Valley View when we've had great improvements with the new administration that we put in, where we've cut costs more than $10 million annually? Why would I want to sell Valley View when the operating costs of the facility right now, according to Mr. Ledoux, the administrator, are budgeted at $5.3 million if we gave him a chance next year? Why would I want to sell it when the operating costs of the facility are basically break even? And I think to myself, when I say that over and over, I get some people, legislators, asking me, they don't quite understand what that means. And I think maybe I'm just not doing a good job explaining it. So let's just take a different kind of analogy. Say someone bought a restaurant, and the restaurant had been run into the ground, a high-priced restaurant. And the operator turned it around. And operationally, that restaurant was break even for them right now. The income that they were getting was equal to the expenses that they were paying. But in buying that restaurant, they had to make $5 million yearly payment to whoever they bought it from. Well, operationally, they have a restaurant that is break even, except they do have those $5 million ongoing costs. And if they shut that facility down, their contract says for the next 30 years they have to continue to pay that $5 million. So if they close that restaurant, they have $5 million costs the rest of their lives. They have a restaurant break even, but they have $5 million ongoing costs, whether they keep it or they get rid of it. That's where we are with Valley View. So why would I want to get rid of it when it saves nothing in the budget deficit? You don't take my word for that. Look at the executive's budget outline. You'll see where he saved money doing various things. Not a penny saved from closing down Valley View. But he does use $15 million from the sale of Valley View to balance the budget deficit in other departments. So maybe that's why I should sell Valley View, because we need that $15 million for the other departments. But why would I do that when I know there are ways you can cut costs in those other departments and get that $15 million? And I have a proposal to do just that, that I hope my fellow legislators will consider when we do the budget, but I'm not very hopeful because marching orders have already been given as to why the executive doesn't want it done. Well, I thought we create a budget. He then gets it, and then he can veto it with these reasons if he thinks they're valid. But in this county, the marching orders have already been given. Don't vote on that alteration of the budget to come up with the $15 million. But I know it's possible. Why would I want to get rid of Valley View when I know you can do that to come up with the $15 million without firing 300, 400, 500 people or raising taxes 20, 30, 40%, whatever the current number he's got? Why would I want to get rid of Valley View when I know the IGT pie, the amount of money we get for IGT, is ever growing, and the number of people taking slices out of that pie, the number of nursing homes here, is shrinking. So our pie, our slice of that overall pie, will be bigger and bigger. Why would I want to get rid of Valley View? Why would I want to sell the facility when we have managed care coming along that people will tell you, well, we don't know what will happen in managed care, but you guys are the biggest operator in Orange County and you are positioned to take the greatest advantage of it? Why would I want to get rid of it when we have a great administrator to do just that? Why would I want to get rid of the facility when I know that up to 2 casinos are going to be awarded in this area very shortly? And even if we don't get them, we will get a payment of $10 million a year. And if we do get both of them, the estimates are upwards by some of $100 million a year. Why would I want to get rid of the facility when those payments would start in 2017? The budget has been crafted with only one goal: to eliminate Valley View. And at the same time, to help get us through the next 2 years with one-shots from Valley View until we get to the time that the casino money comes here. So why, if I could do it a different way, would I want to get rid of Valley View? Why would I do that when the vast majority of people in Orange County are in support of keeping it? Some people think 80 to 90%. But I'll tell you, in my talking to thousands of people, I've come across 4 or 5 that are against it out of the thousands. Why would I do that to them? The same people that have built this county, paid the taxes, educated children, built our roads, fought in the wars to have our freedom. People that aren't most likely getting a penny of the $175 million of social welfare programs that we give out, but rely on one day maybe having a facility for them there that they pay taxes all their lives for. Why would I take it away from them? Why would I do that when it goes against my campaign promises to help the fight to keep the facility county-owned? Why would I do that when I personally put in over 1,500 hours to try to improve the facility, get the truth out, make the changes that were necessary? Why would I go back on that at this point? Why would I think of selling Valley View when, by reputation amongst all our citizens in Orange County, it is unmatched anywhere for the quality of care that it gives its people? Why would I dispose of the facility to a private operator and place the quality of care of our residents in the hands of low-paid, transient workers? And you say, well, that's not true. What part's not true? You're going to argue that they're low-paid, or you're going to argue that they're transient workers? Because they are low-paid, and that's why they leave very difficult jobs. And if you want proof of that, you take a look at one of the biggest private facilities in this county that everyone knows by name and look at their 9900 report, and you'll see 2 years ago, their staff turnover was 52% of their workers in 1 year. Why would I put the quality of care of our people in their hands? Why would I want to sell Valley View when my heart has been ripped by the unanswered cries of human beings begging to be taken to the bathroom as worker after worker passed them by in a private facility? Why would I want my people to go through that? I didn't take an oath behind the scenes. I didn't take an oath to go behind the scenes to make deals with potential buyers and other operations. And Toro College is putting out ads, and they're telling us about they will add a specialized pediatric center, including ventilation care, adjoining the college's Middletown campus in the former Horton Hospital complex. Why do you need our residents before you go ahead and do something like that? If that's good, and if you can make money and provide a good service, you go ahead and do it. Why do you need our elderly before you do something like that? Why would I sell Valley View so they can open up senior housing and assisted living on the Valley View campus when I know I could turn around and sell that land to entrepreneurs that are going to do that same exact thing, take in the money for that land and have it as a feeder into our facility to increase our situation? Why would I let someone else do that? And I'm going to close very quickly here. Why would I get rid of Valley View when we still own and run an airport? An airport that I am pretty sure not one of my 18,000 constituents uses. Why would I continue to want to sell Valley View when we still own 2 golf courses that we subsidize with taxpayer money? And we still cling to 115 unused properties in this county with a fair market value of $27.5 million. Why would I want to sell Valley View when I can't think of even one good reason to do it? Now, there's been a handful of us that have fought tremendously for the improvements that have occurred. And there's been a majority of people on this legislature that have supported those efforts. And we've gotten the results we see here. It's time this ends. It's time the rest of us get together and work as a team to get that facility even better than where it is today. And it's time we tell the executive that that's our decision, and it is your job to execute and run the county to the best of your ability. If we don't want to do that, then someone has to answer to me and tell me what is behind the obsession of disposing of Valley View. I won't do it. I'm voting against this LDC, and I will have a proposal to get that other $15 million from other sources in our meeting that will happen after this vote. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, that's something different than I heard 5 years ago, but that's another story. Mr. Chairman, when I first saw Mr. Skoufis come here before, I was very elated. I was actually hoping that he was going to tell us that he was coming from the state to tell us that the state was going to contribute the full 33% that they owe to us to operate Orange County instead of the 17% that they do presently. And I've actually called him to task on that before, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. As I get started, just to go on record so that you know who I am, I'm a veteran of 24 years, Senior Master Sergeant. My mom was Navy. My mom was a Navy Lieutenant, RN during World War II, stationed at Pearl Harbor. My dad was a PFC in the Army with the 509th. Most of you don't even know what that is. Maybe Paul Tibbets might ring some bells because that's 509th. And I also had a 4th generation grandfather fought in the Revolutionary War, so I salute every single one of you veterans, but please don't anybody ever tell me what my appreciation for veterans are, because I'm not going to stand here, I'm not going to sit here and take it, because I show my support for veterans every single day I draw breath, because I know every single one of those veterans was willing to lay their life down for me and I for them if necessary. So please don't ever question my patriotism, and I think that's been done here tonight. Recent ads, excuse me, I was very polite to every single one of you. Every single one of you. I've listened time and time again to many of you 2 and 3 times. And I've always been polite to every single one of you, so I expect the same thing. You might not like what I'm saying, but that's the same First Amendment that you were championing just a few minutes ago. And if I'm a little bit terse, I apologize, but I've also had a very tough week in Port Jervis this week. And if you've been reading the newspapers, that man was a friend of mine. And I still haven't gotten rid of that anger. Recent ads, letters, emails that I've seen about Valley View have been filled with vitriol and, yes, lies, telling people that if it's privatized, that they're sentencing those people to rape and sexual abuse. Really? 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 Come on, people. There's nothing worse than trying to sell that. That's terrible. And you know, during the committee that was formed on Valley View, I was told of staff that was telling patients that they'd be out in the street in 30 to 60 days. And I was the one that said, and those of you that were here remember it, that if we know who those staff members are, they should be fired on the spot. That's abuse. I know another employee that came here in front of the committee and talked about Eddie Diana forgave $150,000 worth of debt for one of his personal friends. And I called on the committee that time too, and much of you were here, and I said, I want that investigated. I want the Attorney General to come down here and investigate that, and if Eddie Diana did that, I want him arrested and prosecuted. Nobody ever did a thing.